So I'm just going to rip this into little planks, and let's see how I'm doing it. I'm going to take the edge of the bark off first because I don't need that. That's not going to be very usable for me. So here we are, got it set up, and just going to cut the edge off first. A little bit noisy. And I'm going for a particular thickness on my little planks this time. I'm just going to push this over because I want this one to be 1/4 of an inch. I need to allow for my curve, and I need to allow for my sanding. So in my case, I happen to know that means I need 7/16. And I've already lost track if that was right, but this will be close enough for what I'm doing this time. Lock it down. Now I'm going to put so smooth. You see how smooth that is? This is a regular old bandsaw, regular bandsaw blade. Okay, for the next part of this project, I need a thicker piece. I need it to be, I like it, excuse me, I like it to be roughly 7/8 of an inch for this part. Okay, now, just for the record, thought I'd bring you over here and show you. I've got mine marked so that I know I'm not going to run this thing into my blade. If I push this over and I see this mark right here, it's just El Marco or whatever, magic marker on there, I know I'm too close. So I always want to make sure that on mine, the way I've got it set up, that I don't pass that line. I can be like this so that I'm about halfway and I'm still okay, but I don't want to go to where I see plain silver on that side of the line. So we've changed sandpaper. We're now up to 180 grit. And so now here I go. I'm going to run these things through again. And that's going to make them, they won't be silky smooth, but for what I'm going to do, they'll be good enough. I like to use my push block. I've got a little like thin foam rubber pad on the bottom, and I've got a little catcher at the back to help push it across. It just helps me keep my board flatter. I have to make sure I fetch on it. That I don't have my fingers in the spot. Let's even speed. One down on the tabletop. Hey, this has saved me so much since I got this spot master. I haven't mentioned yet what this project is. This is actually a profile project, which is probably why I really like these tools so well. Here I just got a piece of salvaged wood out of the yard. Oh, that feels really nice. Okay, here we are. It's now time for the pattern. And I'm going to put it on the paper, not on the wood. I always like to stress that. If you put your glue on your wood or your tape or whatever you're gluing it to, you don't want to put it on the surface because then it'll soak into the paper from the back side more unevenly. If you apply it to the paper, the moisture of the glue is more evenly distributed throughout the fibers in the paper, and you don't have trouble. So let's not put it on the wood because the pattern usually puckers if we do that, because it'll gather the moisture a little more unevenly. Causes it to pucker. So let's see if I can get this back down where I originally wanted to put it. And I like to drill them in some inconspicuous area, maybe in a point of something, a nose, the end of a hook or a toe or something like that. Let's see. I think I'm going to choose to do this one here in the ear. See if I can get some idea of me. Make sure my bit goes down straight. You want a nice straight cut on this job. Get through? Yes, we did. Okay, so I got to drill a hole for this one, then I got to drill a hole for the inside line too. So that's 2 holes I got I'm just going to follow the line. Just be patient and easy with it. And we're going to get there when we get there. And this project is kind of fun because if you miss the line just a little, it's probably not going to be a major problem. I detect that we're probably getting some burn in here, so here's what I'm going to do. Because that wood is trying to burn, I'm going to put some clear tape over it. Why would I do that? That sounds silly, right? Well, it really reduces your burn, lubricates the blade, and you'd be amazed at how much nicer that this thing's going to run with something over it. Now, I wasn't even thinking about that, or I would have had that done ahead of time. Now, the blue tape, if you put the blue tape on before you start when you do your patterning, that helps some. Blue isn't quite as good as masking tape or cellophane or whatever else. It appears to be that the stickier it is, the better it works. Patience is a virtue, and here it really plays out good because you don't want to go too fast and get your blade to bend. If you push it too much, you know, really bearing into it, you're just going to cause yourself more headache. You want that blade to be running straight. If you push it, you may be bending your blade. If you're waiting on these little teeth, as long as these little teeth are full of saw or full of wood, you can't keep feeding more, so don't push it. Be patient, just feed it as it's hungry. After a little practice, you get the idea. You get the feel for when it's time to call that your speed. Just going to go along. Rather than bore you with all this, I'm going to bring you back in here in a little bit. And I have finished the main interior cut, to cut the scrap out and run the, oh, I see what the problem is. Okay, so there's our scrap. We're going to set this aside. Actually, it's big enough I can use it for something else later if I want to. Now, that was fine to use a number 5 on this one because I just want a nice smooth cut and I really want it to look good on the inside. Now the next cut, however, I probably need a bigger curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change and I'm going to put a bigger blade in here because I want a bigger curve without having to cut it twice. Okay, so what I've got here, this is the biggest blades that I have really. These are number 12, they're Pegasus number 12s. They have 7 teeth to the inch and they're a form of a skip tooth. They've got probably enough space for maybe 3 teeth between them, but I like these really well. They really pull out the material quickly. Make sure my hole is big enough to hold them actually. Actually I need to go back and re-drill my hole because the hole itself isn't going to be big enough for them. But before I get to that point, let me come in here and let me tell you about putting blades in. Make sure you get it upright. My teeth are pointing down except for the ones that are reverse, which are poking up to help eliminate, it'll cause shavings like hairy fuzzy stuff on the back. So this will eliminate that problem. So you want your teeth pointing down. If it's a tiny blade that you really can't see the teeth, just take and lightly rub your finger and see which way you get the most resistance. This one's, I can sort of pet them down and no problem. This way they want to catch, so I would make sure that I put it up here this way. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in, then I'm going to, or get it started anyway. I'm going to go re-drill my hole and I'll be right back. So again, we're going to thread it out. I always try to make sure that I don't have anything sticking out on the back here. Get all this stuff cleared off. Like a while ago I had, you know, a little piece of bark or something in there. So just clear it all off. Because you don't want it to cause your board to tip on the tabletop and make things go askew. You want this cut to be really straight and true at a true 90-degree angle. So we're just going to put our blade back in there, and here we go. Now this one's going to be tougher to control because it has so much bigger teeth and it's going to run rougher, so it may even be noisier too. So we'll just be ready here. And it's not going to make us quite a turns either, so that's okay. I don't really need that sharp of a turn on this. Relatively close would be nice, but it doesn't have to be perfect for that. Okay, we want to follow the line as closely as we can. Again, we're still not going to feed it faster than it wants See, a bigger teeth, a bigger blade will cut faster generally. But you still gotta wait on it and be patient. Don't feed it too fast. Because I've got the bigger blade, like I said, I'm not gonna get the corners cut as well, so they're gonna be all a little more rounded off. That's why this is kind of a fun project, because you don't have to be an absolute perfectionist to do this. If you get in the ballpark, you know you're close. So on the line is really nice, but if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. In most places, you don't want your blade to bend or bow at this point, because this will make your box be hard to cut apart. Clean, straight cut. Basically laminate, plastic. I did that because I was having problems with the black coming up off my tape. Makes it a whole lot easier. One of these times I'm going to give a little seminar here about how to get a nice true cut. Okay, and let's just go ahead and see how well we can peel the pattern off. If I'd remembered the thing about we got to tape it anyway for this kind of thickness to cut and make it decent. I did just put the blue paper. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and glue the bottom, or actually it's the top of the lid. The outside one is actually the lid. Well, you can't argue that. So, okay, that's the, but you didn't see the brand name on that, I don't think. Wasn't trying to show it to you anyway. So, now I'm going to put this down because I kind of want to match the grain up here. That's what I thought would be kind of fun about this project, and it is, because it looks more like it's a solid piece of wood if you do it real careful like. So, let me line this up, and I'm going to be looking down in there to kind of get an idea of where it's at. It's not going to be perfect, but let's see here. Looks like about right there. It's going to be something. Actually, the bark lines up pretty good that way, so might be it. Now, okay, it looks pretty good. Okay, now we're ready to continue. Let's get our blade tight, and it looks like I need to tighten it a little more with a thumb screw. There we go. Okay, now it's just a matter of following around the outside lines. And we've already got our top one. This is going to be the lid part here when we're looking at it that way. So, okay, there we go. Direction because my blade got worn out. I changed it, and so I restarted up here where the point is. I can come back and blend in better. Luckily, lots of sawdust. Had a lot of tight corners and curves in there, and with a cut as thick as this, that'll cause some of that problem, getting stuck up in there. Especially when you got so much sawdust. And it's big sawdust because we got a big blade. So now we're going to switch to a smaller blade again. Because after we clear all this tape off and paper, I'm going to sand it a little bit. I'll probably... Okay, and here we are over at my belt sander. I'm over here not because I'm going to actually use the belt sander specifically, but it has a nice flat surface with sandpaper on it. So I'm going to stand here and I'm going to peel the tape and the paper off what comes off easily. Well, I don't think I'm going to use it that way anyway. Okay, there's that one. Now we're going to try to get this one off. We haven't been more gentle with this one. We don't have any support over it. Spot and 2 last passes. There we go. Okay. Okay, so here we are at the last glue up part. Fairly simple. Make sure that you know which way your figure goes. Okay, you don't want to put the glue on the wrong side. That would not be a good thing. Okay, so that side's sticking up. We're going to match it up, and we're just going to put the glue on this side. We knew we were going to be okay this way. Now it turns out that my blank's just a little smaller, my shell for this thing, just a little smaller than I really like it, but we're going to try to make it do. Because we're this far along in the project, and, well, I'm just not going back now. And this is mostly a demo. I'm not too good at editing videos yet, so I don't know if I can fog that out. Might have to skip that part just so that you don't see that. Okay, so we got our glue on. Now we're going to turn it over, center it up right where we want it. Make sure we got as much excess rim around it as we can get, because that shell needs it. Okay, I think I'm not going to worry too much if it's on his feet. I'm gonna, whoa! Okay, that should be pretty good. And let me get my rag and clean this up. So now it's just time we're going to put our lid on top of our box. Hope that we had everything smooth enough to get it in there. Make sure you put on part as easily as I'd like for it to. Okay, now we've got it put together. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to trace along here with our smaller blade. Okay, and this is one of those ones that's so tiny, I really have to feel it to find out. I've got resistance this way, I don't this way. So if the resistance is up, that's the way I want it. Resistance up. Putting it down in here, and hope that it doesn't flip backwards on me. Sometimes the teeth will go to the back. There we go. We're okay. So what we're going to do now is, hopefully, let's see if I can get some light on this so you can see on this side. We're going to follow the contour that we've already made with our blade. So here we go. And we hope we don't take it out in the process. Okay, we're going to continue following the contour here. We're at the Fluffy Mop Sander, Stockroom Supply. Love those people. Here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to just take off the edge. Just get this smoothed down, and it's going to buff it up really nice. Just see how easy this is.